Team, what's going on? Back with another daily flow routine for you. As always, no equipment needed for this session, just 10 minutes of your time dedicated to improving your body, improving your mind, improving your breathing, improving your blood flow, activation, and a million other things that are basically amazing things that are going to happen off the back of this little short session for you. So this can be done first thing in the morning as a little bit of a waking up. It can be done midway through the day as a revitalizer, or it can be done as a wind down session before sleeping. But either way, we're going to just free up some areas, activate some areas, get some blood flow going, improve our breathing, and basically just fix you in 10 minutes. Here we go, no equipment needed, just a mat. We're gonna work through some lower body stuff today, predominantly on the hips. So let's start on our back. And let's first of all just get ourselves grounded. So feet down on the floor. And all we're thinking of doing is getting a nice kind of flat, kind of spinal position on the ground with tailbone all the way up to the top of our head. So we should be able to get pretty much all of our back touching on this mat here. And you might find that you have a little gap here, so I just wanted to create a little bit of engagement and just get everything nice and flat. Just going to switch us on a little bit. Hands onto the stomach, and we're just going to focus on our breathing. Let's take a full deep breath in from the stomach. And full deep breath out. Good work. So we just focus a little bit on your breath as you do this. Just imagine the path that this breath is taking as it goes through the nostrils, down through the throat, through the whole system, down to the diaphragm, down to the lower stomach area. As you then breathe out, feel it traveling back up the torso, back up the nostrils. Just be aware of your breath, aware of the tempo. We're not trying to fix any specific tempo here, we're just trying to be aware of it and just breathe as we need to. But we're just bringing our thought onto the breath. Great way to just gain a little bit of mindfulness and a little bit of focus. So you'll see here, I'm just letting my legs drift from left to right. You can do the same. You can just let your legs fall to the left, fall to the right. Almost just window wipering. Might feel a little bit of self-massage coming to the bottom half of the back, top half of the glutes here. It just feels nice. This just feel good. And then eventually what we're going to do is we're going to let our legs come to a rest. Now you can either go hands on the hips or hands out ahead of you. I like hands up personally. And all we're going to do is we're going to just feel like we're getting a little bit of pressure into our heels. And once we push this pressure into our heels, I want you to then just feel about like activating the glutes as much as you can. So our tendency when we're going to do is basically a glute bridge. Our tendency is to use the hamstrings and the lower back to lift, but I really want us to pre-activate the glute before we do this movement. So I want you to just feel like your hips are being kind of made lighter by you pushing into the heels and squeezing the glutes. So I can kind of just like push my heels in, activate the glute, and my hips just want to then hover. And then once I feel like that activation is on, I can then just go to continue to raise these hips up to the sky. I'm still squeezing the glutes as hard as I can, and then slowly lowering back down. So it's all about the activation here. We can push the heels in, activate, squeeze the glute, and then lift. And depending on how you are on the front of the hip, you know, if you lift up here, you might feel a little bit of restriction in the front of the thigh, a little bit of restriction in the front of the hip. No judgment here, it's just being curious with how your body is today. And just being aware, is there any extra work I need to do? Maybe I'm a little bit tight in the front of the hip, maybe I need to spend a little bit more time to the front of the hip. Today I feel good, so no notes for me today, but there could be some notes for you of feeling a bit tight there. Good work. We're going to do one more here. We're just going to squeeze, contract, and push up. Good work. Straighten the right leg out, and let's bring this left leg up towards the chest. I just want you to pull this in tight towards the chest, and I just want you to make a few circles with this. So I just want you to mobilize the actual hip joint here. So we're actually mobilizing the hip capsule as we do this. We're trying to pull this knee into the chest, and we're just making some small circles with this knee. Pulling down, almost pulling the thigh bone back into its socket. And then making a few circles just to mobilize that. Release left leg down, bring right leg up. Same principle here, we're just pulling it up and making a few circles. So it's going to be predominantly on the hips today. And then all we're going to do is release that leg back down, roll ourselves onto the side, and roll ourselves all the way up into a seated position. And I'm going to get you to go into like a 90-90 position here. So you can see that I've got one leg kind of in front of me, one leg behind me, hips are at 90 degrees, knees at 90 degrees, ankle at 90 degrees. And all I'm going to do is just chill out in this position. You should be able to hold ourselves up in this position, depending on your movement. You might be able to, you might not be able to, but I don't really care. I just want you to be able to relax down. And the feeling that I want you to imagine is that we're actually trying to rotate the stomach away from this back leg. So just as I do this, as I pull my belly button round to the right, I can feel a little bit of stretch coming to the front of my left hip and into this lower abdomen. This is the feel I want you to get. So I just want you to feel like you're turning this on, getting this little bit of rotation, and then I just want you to take a few breaths in this position. So just a few breaths here, so, and out. Few more breaths, and we're not folding over, and we're not up and banana back. We're kind of keeping it nice and neutral. We're thinking more about rotating away, and just keep breathing here. But you might find that as you breathe and as you rotate, you get given a little bit of extra room. Just take up the slack as it's given to you. Full deep breath in, full deep breath out. Feeling this whole chain start to build up. And only when we do this do we understand where people say that the right shoulder is linked to the left hip, right? We might think that that was some kind of voodoo talk or voodoo mechanism, but it's not. You can really feel like this whole system is linked. So you can feel like your left knee all the way up through your left thigh, up through the abdomen, up the right shoulder is all one system. And funnily enough, it's a very, very important system for golf. As we reach here, we're just going to go for one more breath. Good work. Let's flip around to the other side. So right leg comes forward, sorry, left leg forward, right leg back, or the other side to what you just did. And again, we're just trying to rotate around from this right side. So I like us starting a little bit leaning forward and then feel like we're just going to rotate. And I like the feeling of rotating for the belly button, because otherwise we can get stuck here and just turn our shoulder. I want you to feel like it's this belly button that is rotating. So we're rotating away from this back leg. If you want, you can kick this right leg back a little bit further and place the hands down, and let's just get our breathing going here. Good. Any slack that's given to you, take it up. We're not re-yanking back, we're not falling forward, we're just taking up slack, trying to actually, we're almost creating our own tension here, because if I just chilled out, I'd have no tension. I'm actually trying to create a little bit of tension in this system and then breathe out. We'll get rid of it. Great one to first wake up in the morning, just to free open this whole chain, especially if you're going to play some golf today. So give me another kind of 5 or 10 seconds here as we breathe. A little bit more static than we have been in some of these daily flows, but still really active through our breath. Good work. Okay, come back to the middle, just loosen that off, so both feet down. Let's just do a little bit of our 90-90, just dropping hips from left to right. Good work, and then pop yourself all the way up into your deep squat. And from this deep squat, heels up. I don't mind heels up first thing in the morning. I'm just going to rock around, play around in this deep squat position. You can use your hands to drive your knees out if you want. Play around with a little bit of a wider stance if you want. I don't care. This is freestyling, deep squat, moving around. Put a hand down, you can rotate, you can do whatever you want to do. You can go heels down if you want, you can play. I don't mind, whatever feels good. And then from there, push the heels in, feet in, lift the bum up to the sky. Feel this little bit of stretch coming to the back of the hamstrings. And then slowly, slowly, slowly start to work all the way up. Lower back starts to round and straighten. Mid back starts to straighten out, and you roll the way up into a standing position. I'm actually going to get you guys to finish with hands on the hips. I want you to pull your elbows back. So I want you to pull your elbows back, lift this chest up. Put the hands in, push your hips forward. I want you to take a full deep breath in, full deep breath out. One more here, full deep breath in, full deep breath out. Let the head drop to the left, drop to the right, drop forward, lift up, full deep breath in, full deep breath out. And just like that, you have time traveled and jumped forward through this daily flow. Guys, fantastic work. Really, really well done. Go smash the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.